Boom! Do you know, honestly, really, and I feel terrible having to say this, but it appears to me that I am 5 minutes late. And you know, for all intent and purposes, that should be devastating. But when you take into account that I am coming to you live from Simoson Building, that gives you context. Because I work in an environment that is so chaotic, that is so white hot, that it beggars description, to say the very least. I'm being facetious. I really am. Guys, could you hop on here real quick? Where is my pen? Did I share this with you? I have one of these little pen holder deals on my desk. I'm a big pen holder fan. I love pen holders. Or pen whatever it is. Hey, Bo, I see you, girl. So good to see you. I have this on standby. It's hot. Could we turn on the air con? Is that too much to ask? I don't think that's too much to ask. Go ahead and break it down for me, guys. If you could just tell me in the comments below. I know it's right after lunch. Many of you have just had your lunch, and I never take it for granted that you would take time out of your very busy schedule to spend a few moments with me here on SML TV. I am thankful only because I know that you don't know what it's like being me out here for you. It is an up at dawn, pride swallowing siege that I will never fully tell you about. So hop on here real quick. I need to read that it's loud and clear. Bo, if you could just type that for me. Yes, we do have power. And also, I must tell you, we recently installed solar panels. So even if there is no Zesco, the solar panels kick in and presto, we still have power. It took some doing, but we finally got there. And as I often say and share with you, that we do what we do because we love what we do. It's all for love. And we're doing it in 3 phases. We've just done phase 1 of the solification. Is that even a word? Solification? Bo, tell me in the comments, is solification a word? We've done phase 1 of phase 3 of the solification of Simoson Building. We're not quite there yet, but we've taken a step in the right direction, and it's all for love. It's every single thing that we do here is for love. All right, guys, let's talk about it. It's lunchtime here. Where are you? Let's keep it alive. Hello, who's that? Rabson. Hello. Good afternoon, Mr. Moore. Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much, guys. What do you think of the tie? Tell me honestly. I think the tie matches a little reflect the thing. I really do. And that's not always the way to go. I mean, sometimes you want to break the pattern. You don't want everything to super match. You know, do you ever see these people that everything matches? The carpet matches with the curtains match with the couch matches with the cushions, you don't have to super match everything. A bit of contrast is the way to go. I did do the super matching thing with my tie and the little thingy. I think that's overkill. I could have gone easily with a black tie. But did I do this? No, I didn't. I broke protocol is what I did. Waiting from Manchester City. Thank you, Manchester. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. You are clear, but go ahead, which is what I'm doing. Just a couple of things before I oh, not to be heat quite the other day. So like getting to reduce heat. So that you have got in 20. Right. So what you got to do is you switch it on, then you switch it back on. I mean, you switch it off, then you switch it back on, and then you get that cool breeze, mate. Right. All right. Let's get. You know, I was watching because you know we watch everything on the internet. Internet is so alive. Every waking moment, there's something new that's happening within the internet space. I was very amused a day ago. I was watching Honorable Sylvia Macedo. She had gone to the Miss Universe competition and she praised it, except she highlighted the fact that she was a little disappointed when she watched and she observed the swimsuit section of the competition, which is a staple when it comes to these fashion thingy-mabobs. You know, you can't go to a Miss Universe competition and not see the swimsuit section. That's like going to the movie, but there's no movie. Imagine going to the cinema, you buy your popcorn, you buy your Coca-Cola, for those of you that drink carbonated drinks. You sit in that beautiful couch, and then all of a sudden, the guy in the theater says, "Thank you for coming, but we're not showing the movie today." You'd be up in arms. You'd be like, "What the heck, man? We came here for the movie." It's the same with the swimsuit section. Most people understand that the swimsuit section is part and parcel. It's a staple. It's part of the whole thing. So when Sylvia Macedo sort of bemoaned the fact that these young girls, what is it? Tell me, is the network bad? Is it? Tell me if it's bad. Is the network bad? Tell me, Bobo, is the network bad? Because if it is, I'll switch this right off. There is nothing I cannot stand worse than bad network. Huh? Tell me in the comments. We'll get it right in a moment. We will. If it's not bad, we'll fix that. You know. But I need to read in the comments. We are following you, sir. But I need to know if the network is okay. If it's not, I'm going to turn this thing right off. It's good. Okay, Isaac, thank you so much. So here's the thing about these competitions. I'll never forget when I went to, guys, make sure that you invite the right, it's very bad, invite the right people to especially when it comes to government officials. Not everything that happens has to have a government presence. I remember when Kirk Franklin first came to Zambia, there was a very famous pastor. If I mentioned his name, you will know exactly who I'm talking about. Kirk Franklin's style of entertaining is very robust. It's you know, he's very energetic, you know. But this pastor, who's a notable pastor here in Lusaka, was sitting right at he was sitting right on the front seat of the concert. And he was just sitting there looking at Kirk Franklin, and you see these entertainers, they feed off of the energy that they get from the audience. So if you are an artist and you're up front and you're jumping, you're singing your lungs out, you're performing, and then you see someone sitting at the front row or sitting on the front row with their legs crossed and they look like they don't want to be there, it saps your energy. It drains your energy. What you want is you want people that mirror your energy. So if you're an artist that is jumping and screaming and shouting and entertaining, you want people that are in front of you to do the same, because you're bouncing off of one another's energy. The same thing with these competitions. If you're going to invite government officials, of course they're going to start making political statements, moral statements. Although I must tell you, I love a comment that somebody made on thingy, on the internet. It says, well, what's the difference between Nchwala, where the girls walk around bare-breasted? If you've ever, I went to Nchwala, and let me tell you, it's one of the most cataclysmic experiences I've ever had, and that's putting it mildly. Because these young lasses, these beautiful women from Botswana, they come in there, boy, completely topless. No bra, I mean bra-less. They show up and they start dancing and everything is, you know. So it's a little disingenuous to condemn Miss Universe, but condone Nchwala. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right. Alrighty. Well, hey guys, I was watching Harry Kalaba. He had I don't know what he was doing. He had like a political advert that he had posted on mwewa, and he was sort of a network I can only hear in Schwaling. Oh dear. I really should have made sure I'm on a good network today. I really should have, because if it's not good, I need to cut this off and make a plan B. I really do. Yeah, I'll get it right in a moment, guys. Just give me a second here. Let me just suss it out. Let me just make sure we're good. And if we're not, I need to make a plan B. No pun intended. Okay, here it is. So I just need to look at it on my monitor here. We're good. Network is okay. Okay, fine. I'll just go with that. You know, the thing is, when you're doing a live and you're constantly feeding off of what the audience is saying, you know, it's a little distracting. So I'm going to try and be focused for the next few minutes. Ba-ba-boom, ba-ba-boom, ba-ba-boom. Here it is. Let me just double check this. I'll be with you here in a second. I'll get it right in a moment. We are good. It's good. All righty. Here it is. I'm just going to check it on my monitor here and see if we're good. A political advert that Here it is. I'm just going to check it on my monitor here. I think we're okay. All righty. So, Harry Kalaba, he rents some space on, which is what every political party should do. In as far as trying to disseminate and get their message across, utilize social media. Although I must tell you that Harry Kalaba, for me, is someone that constantly puts the cart before the horse. You know, there's a sequence of events that I think you have to follow. Even in politics, there's a chronology. You know, you're born, you crawl before you walk. You walk before you run. You run before you sprint. It's a fact of life. You can't get away from that. And of course, when you talk like this, people think that you're a hater. They think you're jealous. When you say that a person who vies for the highest office in the land, who vies for the presidency, but does not have one single solitary representation in terms of parliament on the ground, not one single solitary chairperson on the ground, not one single solitary ward representative on the ground, but you are vying for the highest office in the land. Guess what? You are building castles in the sky. You are placing the horse, you are placing the cart before the horse. You are trying to sprint before you crawl. And I'll tell you what, if you do it in that order, you're not going to get anywhere. Now, I'm not saying, because, you know, in Zambia, you have to qualify everything you say. You don't know God's destiny for him. Here's the problem I have with Harry Kalaba. First of all, and I constantly say this because it's the truth, Harry Kalaba left the PF because he claimed that there was just so much corruption, it stunk to high heaven so much that he couldn't stomach it anymore, he couldn't handle it anymore. He simply couldn't be in the same space as the PF anymore because they were corrupt to the core. He couldn't handle it, he says. But the truth is, one of the main reasons he left was because of this con man named Bushiri in Malawi that calls himself Major One. And I always tell you guys, be careful of leaders that are easily swayed by papas. That is Rasputin all over again. Remember Rasputin? Rasputin that literally destroyed the Russian royal monarchy because he was leading them in the wrong direction. This medicine man, this fetisheur, this man that called himself a mystic, was literally, he had the Russian royal family in the palm of his hands. And because they listened to him, they acquiesced themselves to him, they yielded to him, he eventually destroyed the Russian family, the Russian monarchy. because he misled them. Be weary of any president that easily is swayed by papas, mystics, medicine men that don't stand on their own. Those types of leaders are highly susceptible to being misled. I would be weary of any man that pays homage to a papa. There's nothing wrong with being a Christian. If you're a Christian, you love God and you espouse the tenets of Christianity, we love that because we're a Christian nation. But oh, honey, beware of any man that pays homage to a papa, that makes it sound like the papa is the one that's running the show, which is what happened with Harry. And I'll never stop saying that because it's the truth. Now, Harry, he left the PF because he said it was so corrupt he couldn't stand it. And then all of a sudden, when ECL sort of took the reins, took the chairmanship of this bastardized version of an alliance called Tonse, Harry Kalaba was at the forefront sort of endorsing ECL. So here's my question. How the hell do you, on one hand, resign because the PF, under the leadership of Edgar Chagwalungu, was corrupt, so corrupt that you left, and then on the other hand, you come back and then you sort of rally behind Tonse under the same leader? It doesn't make any sense. And if it's not gelling, guess what? It's not Jello. Let's be clear about that. Tell me in the comments if any of that makes sense. Go ahead, break that down for me so that we know that we're on the same page. And this is all I'm saying about Harry. Now, the other thing that I aside from the fact that I think that he's being presumptuous, not to rain on anyone's parade. Anybody that wants to be the president can be the president, as long as you've got the tools, as long as the toolbox is full with the idea and the capability, the wherewithal, the dexterity to achieve your goal as president. As long as your toolbox is full of the things you need in order to achieve that goal, you're fine. You're fine to do that. But if your toolbox is empty, all you have is a dream. All you have is just, it's platitudes. No MP, no nothing. It's just you. And then you're treading on thin ice. You're walking on eggshells. You don't know what the hell you're doing. You're shooting in the dark because you are a one-man show. And as I said earlier, this is not 1991 with the likes of Bachiluba, who sort of came out of nowhere, came out of obscurity. But the difference with Bachiluba is that he had an army of oneness. And I got amused a few minutes ago where Harry Kalaba posts a shadow, like a silhouette image of, is that the right word, silhouette? Tell me in the comments if that's wrong. Harry Kalaba posted some shadowy image. We know it's HH. And he says, he likens HH to Goliath. He said David slew Goliath. Well, the difference between Harry Kalaba and David is that David had the army of Israel behind him. David had an army of Israeli, in a sense, if you will, parliamentarians behind him. David knew that even though Goliath was slain by one stone within his slingshot, he knew that the army of Israel was standing firmly behind him. David was not a one-man show. He wasn't. And it's far be it from you or anybody else to suggest or to imply that the presidency can only be achieved by one person. It cannot. It cannot. It takes a concerted effort. All the dots have to be connected. There is a line of boxes that you have to tick in sequential order in order to get to your achieved or desired goal. If any one of those dots is missing, you break the chain of success. Guys, it's simple. It's not rocket science. What do you think you are, Bezos? No, you are a politician. Be real, be real, be practical. Walk before you run. It's very, very important that you do that, okay? Now, notwithstanding that in the last election, you guys know this, in the last election, Harry Kalaba, the disparity between Harry Kalaba's numbers and ECL's numbers and thereafter HH's numbers. You remember, HH had more than 2.8 million votes. Edgar Lungu had a little over 1.8 million votes. Harry Kalaba had like 24,000 votes. Less than 25,000 people voted for him. Now, especially Christians. Christians are going to say, well, despise not the days of small beginnings. Yeah, we understand that. We understand that. But the same word of God that says that also says faith without works is dead. You have to show the practical end of what you're doing. You can't just shoot in the dark and hope that you hit a target. Don't do that. Because if you do that, you're gonna expose yourself to a variety of damage. Now, notwithstanding, presidential campaigns are so costly, it's ridiculous. Do you know, I'll never forget this. My father was a former politician, and my dad was in politics practically all his life. And I remember asking him once, this was back in 1995 or 1994, somewhere there. Him and I were having dinner, and I asked him, I said, Dad, how much does it cost in Zambia to run a fully fledged, fully oiled, all pistons firing, okay, all cylinders doing their thing, nationwide, every nook, every cranny, every ward, every province, okay, every district? How much does it cost to run a well-oiled presidential campaign without flinching, without missing a beat? He turned to me and said, $10 million. It costs you $10 million US dollars, 10 million USD to run a fully fledged campaign. Guys, it's not child's play. It's not patty cake, baker man. It's not tiptoeing through the tulips. It's not standing on the sideline holding hands and singing kumbaya, we shall overcome. No, honey, it's real politics. When the rubber meets the road, you have to have all the dots connected. You can't just swing it on a prayer. You can't just swing it on an ideology. It's not going to happen. Everything has to happen in the right sequence in order to achieve your goal. So my verdict, this is my verdict when it comes to Harry Kalaba, is that he's shooting in the dark. What he needs to do is, here's the thing, if he's thinking long term, because that's the other thing, is that you have to have a sense of longevity. In Zambian politics, it's not like in America. In America, there's a saying that every senator, every congressman that wakes up in the morning and looks at themselves in a mirror is potentially looking at the next president of the United States. Not in Zambia, honey. In Zambia, anyone can be president. As long as you've got the tools, the money, you've got all the dots connected, it's possible. But the one ingredient that a Zambian politician needs in his arsenal, okay, in his arsenal is longevity, long term. You have to think long term. If you're in it for the short haul, if you think, we've seen so many politicians that come up, and from what I understand, there are more than 30 something political parties in this country. But do you hear about them? You know why? Because they don't have longevity. They don't have resource in their toolbox. They have none of those things. You have to be resilient. The same message you're preaching today is the same message you have to preach in 2031, should you not get the presidency in 2026. The same message, the same vigor, the same vitality that you have in 2025 is the same vitality that you need to have in 2031. Now, if you think that it's instant porridge, but politics is not delight porridge. Makamaka langula Zambian politics. It's not delight porridge. You don't just add water and instantly you start eating. Or as we say in Zambia, you start enjoying. No. There's an element of not only sacrifice, longevity, persistence in the face of utter defeat. You must keep going regardless of what the naysayers say. But if you flounder, if you falter, if you fall on the wayside at the slightest hint of resistance, brothers and sisters, you fail. You fail. Not these boys, not these girls. Sorry, I can't help that. I try to avoid doing that, but it just comes out. It's part of my DNA, I guess. I don't know. You know, maybe I need therapy. Somebody tell me in the comments. So, alrighty, that's what I wanted to share with you guys. God bless. Thanks for watching. Bye.